So how do we put the power of our words to use? Well, if you're in one of my training programs, we move through different stages. The first stage is your leader story. And the leader story touches on many different areas of resonance between you and the listener. And then, so that creates a nice, attractive opportunity. But then serious action, people might want to say, well, how is this going to work? Like, let's say you want to, raise capital for something and you're laying out your story and it all sounds beautiful. Well, a sophisticated investor might say, that sounds really beautiful. I'm inspired by the story. I'd like to invest, but I want to see how you think you're going to get that done. And so from there, from your story and words or your leader story, we look at the story and numbers. Like, can this even work? Can this create positive cash flow? How much effort out and how much effort and how much, essentially money and energy coming back to reward that output of energy. And this is one of the hardest things, I think, for people to get. I know I've struggled with it because, I've been so passionate. I put all my energy out and then at the end of the day, not really receiving the energy I need just to manage my personal life, manage my family. So getting those energies to work is, really important aspect of the power of your words. So it's not just enough to have a vision, but, do the numbers work out? And do the numbers work out so that I'm also, my personal needs are taken care of? Because if I'm going to lead some project, well, I got bills to pay, just like you. So I want to make sure that whatever I'm doing in the realm of leadership, that I'm still able to take care of the back end, which is, my bills, my family's bills, and the kind of, just being alive in this world. You've got things to pay for. So that's what I'm saying. When we look at your story and numbers, that's what starts bringing this feeling of solidity. And once you've done that, some people may never ask. I've literally raised hundreds of thousands of dollars when I was prepared with the numbers, but nobody really asked because they were just so inspired. They just said, look, here's the money. I didn't say, hey, do you want to see the numbers? I didn't want to, if somebody's trying to give me money, I'd just normally say yes, with a caveat, because usually, the things I've tried to raise money for have been pretty risky. And usually I just say, look, can you really afford to lose all this? Because this is a long shot. And people like that, they're excited because most people don't have that many opportunities to risk in their life because they build lives of safety. So they enjoy, when I tell them, it's like, yeah, probably you'll lose everything. You sure about this? It turns them on. And I'm being honest. And they did lose, a lot of my investors lost money. I regret that. If I could do it over again, I would have done everything differently, which is why now I teach people methods that I learned from these different kinds of failures. So you don't have to do that because, running into your investors, even though they didn't really care, they didn't put anything at risk that they couldn't afford to lose. They were wealthy. They saw it as an experiment, but I didn't. And so I felt a kind of a shame if I would run into them, in the farmer's market or, I had this kind of, hangdog feeling about myself. And that can be avoided with the proper understanding of the risk and reward at each stage, which I didn't have, back then. I do now. And I'm using that knowledge with the way I'm proceeding with my own projects. So I've always say, I'm only teaching what I do myself. I don't teach from books. I teach from experience. That's why I'm a mentor, not a coach. Yeah, I coach, but I mean, whatever I'm teaching you is based on me doing the work, seeing how it works, and seeing if it applies to you. So what's beyond that? So when you create your story in words now and your story in numbers, when you get your story in numbers working, now when you're sharing, the power of your words is just stronger because that if someone wants to look under the hood and see how this thing works, you're ready. So that builds confidence, and that confidence gets mixed in with the air that comes out and the you know the sounds that come out of your mouth, and that aspect of confidence is traveling along with the words and enters the ears and the minds and the consciousness of the person you're speaking with. So you know, it's really a lovely thing to consider. What comes next after that? Well, the next thing, and I'm going to talk about that in the next video, is what I call being ready to receive. So just to touch on that, and then we'll talk about that in the next video. If you want to receive money, I call that your financial plumbing. So without saying any more about that, I'm going to end this video, and then we'll look at that in the next video.